Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Just Stories with Jay Hudson, and today I'm going to go over the time where when I was in foster care. I'm also going to touch on the time when my older cousin threatened my mom with child services against her, and I might touch on the story where one of my uncles put his hands on me and another kid that was in my neighborhood, and I had to go to court for it. All right. So first, going to the story where I was in foster care. So I couldn't have been more than 5. If I was in kindergarten, I was in kindergarten. I was either in preschool or kindergarten. I want to say I was probably around 5 though. 5 or 6. I might have been in kindergarten, something like that. But I wasn't that old. But I wasn't that old. But I remember that. I remember I was cognitive. I remember stuff. So it was just one normal day. Like I said, my mom, she was a single parent around this time. And I had 5 other brothers and sisters. My mom had 6 kids. Now she has 7, but she had 6 at the time. And stuff. And I was just remember just being in my house. It was like, at least at the time, because my mom had 6 kids, but everyone wasn't at the house at the time. I think one of my sisters and one of my brothers, they were already gone somewhere, maybe hanging out with some friends or something. That was like the brother that was 1 year older than me, and one of my sisters that was like probably 2 or 3 years older than me. But my oldest sister was at the house at the time when I was at the house, and my youngest brother, I believe, was at the house, and my older brother. And I just remember me, I was just having, all I had on was boxers. Like I said, I was in the house, but yeah, I was just had on boxers. My oldest brother, he wanted to go hang out with his friend. I remember, I don't know if I was, that was my first time seeing a white person. But I remember his friend was white. I want to say, I was just curious. I wanted to hang out with him because his friend was white. But they were like, my older brother's probably like, I want to say 4 years older than me, around that area, 3 or 4 years older than me. But I wanted to hang out with him. But me at the time, I'm like a little kid. I'm not knowing that I just have underwear on trying to go out the house. But I'm following them down the street and stuff. And my older sister, I guess she just let me go outside. She just think it's okay. I don't know. Like I said, because she's probably like, if I'm 5, then the oldest person in the house at the time watching me and my little brother that's 1 year younger than me, if I was 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She was probably 10. She was probably 10 watching us. And then my brother that I was trying to follow, he was probably like either 8 or 9. But okay, we get down the street. Like if my house is at this corner, where I get down to at least trying to follow my brother, he's been telling me to go back. My brother's literally telling me, bro, go back home. You're not coming with me and my friend. Go back home. And I don't even have shoes on, but I don't know. It's like, I want to go with y'all. I'm finna go with y'all right now that I will. And they finally just take our running, because if my house is at this corner, we're at least at the next corner. And they just take out running and they start throwing rocks at me, telling me to go back. So I'm like, man, I can't catch up with them now. And I'm finna walk back home just to go back home. Literally, as soon as I couldn't see my brothers and them anymore because they was running off throwing rocks down the street, so they hit a corner. Soon as I turned back to go to the direction of my house, a police just come around the corner this other direction. So I'm like, and I can't play this stuff off. I'm probably short as ever, because I'm only probably 5 years old. Just got some boxers on, some boxers, and no shoes on, walking. So this police stopped. He was probably just calmly, yo, where you going? Where you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm just going back to my house. It's right there. He's literally pointing at it's right there. Probably trying to tell him, I'm probably in my mind telling him, you don't gotta worry about me, sir. I do this all the time. I'm just going back to my house. Leave me alone. We're finna go back to the house. But he was like, okay, well, I'll just take you there. So I was like, okay, whatever. I think I'm telling him that my oldest sister is there, and probably one of my brothers are there. My oldest sister's watching us. She's fine. So I knock on the door, or I open the door because it's my house. I open the door, so we go in. But I'm like, my sister and my youngest brother was not there. I was literally gone from the house, not even probably 5 to 10 minutes, probably even less than that, because literally like it happened so fast. Only even 10 minutes. I'll say 3 to 5 minutes. I was gone. And they left. I was like, wait, so he probably think I'm lying. This police probably think I'm lying. Like this little boy, he really thought I was gonna let him stay in this house by himself. I'm like, dang. So I gotta go with him to the police station. So I'm like, I'm just thinking in my head, oh, I'm gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna be in trouble. That's all I'm thinking. And yeah, so we get to the police station, and I just remember like he got me some chips or something out the vending machine. But I'm just saying, remember, all I have on is boxers. I don't think they gave me clothes or anything yet. But between that, when I'm at the police station, and then them taking me to someone else's home, it wasn't my home, taking me to a home, it was kind of blurry. I just remember getting at the police station, I'm seeing some other officers and stuff. I get some chips, give me some food, I'm good to go. That's all we gotta do. And then when I went to this new home, I'm like, okay, this ain't my house. But I think if like someone told me or like just trying to explain it to me or something, that okay, I gotta stay here for a little bit. Okay, but I'm in foster care. And it was just a little different. It was kind of funny when I kind of figured out where I was, because I was in foster care, but I was literally down the street. I could see my house from the foster care place that had me at. I literally could see my house. I think because I could go outside a little bit, because it was like the foster care woman that had me. She was an older woman, but she would let me go outside. I remember first when I got there, and she was giving me clothes. I'm just looking like, these somebody else's clothes. I don't want to wear that. For one thing, at least trying to give me some tidy whities. I'm like, I wear boxers, ma'am. Ma'am, I am a boxer boy. I'm a boxer boy. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I don't know if I tell her that. I'm just trying to be calm and stuff, because I don't know her like that. So I'm just like, let me just do what I gotta do. But I think I hear that I'm only gotta be there for like a week or something. And the week finally go by, but I just remember like I would always, if I go out, she let me go outside, we go outside, I could look down the street and I could see like my house. Sometimes like it'll be probably my brothers them outside playing or something, but I could just see. But they couldn't come to me and I couldn't go to them. It would like mess up some stuff. I don't know, I was kids, I didn't really know. But I remember when I got back to my house when it was like the week was over and they said my mom can get me again. Everybody was outside waiting for me. Everybody. But my brother, I feel so bad for my older brother. I felt bad inside. I knew he was pissed off at me. Oh, I knew he had to be. Had to be. So everybody's standing outside when they bring me back up. And I think my brother had some candy or something he's gonna give me. And my mom was like, give him what he's gonna give him. And he's just, and I'm just like, oh, I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I ain't really mean to get you in trouble. I just want to come with you. Or I'm just saying in my head, boyfriend, let me just come with you. We wouldn't have this problem, but it was really my fault in a sense. But yeah, I just remember that, and I remember my mama's face. My mom was like, she was like distraught. I mean, I could tell she was crying, and I could tell my older brother was crying. My older brother was crying because he probably got in trouble for it. And then she was crying because, I mean, one of her kids is going out of her house. She's a single parent trying to do the best that she can do with the situation at hand, trying to make the money, trying to put food on the table for her, trying to keep a roof over her head. So, I mean, things like that happen when they don't got money to pay for somebody to watch us, or it ain't nobody around, no family members. I mean, the oldest, let us watch. Because I remember growing up, we would be like cooking. I remember 7 or 8 cooking in a fried Eddie. 7 to 8. Like, got some, because I remember I used to hate fish sticks. But them chicken fingers, I tell you, we had that fried Eddie, put them bloop, bloop, bloop in the fried Eddie, or we had the pizza pockets, but put them bloop, 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 them chicken fingers in the fried Eddie, and it was on point. Oh, kill them, because it was like how it was set up. Mom had 6 kids at the time. She eventually adopted my youngest sister. That's how she got 7. 7 is heaven. But it was like three youngest, and we had all had dad that had the same dad, and it was the three oldest. My oldest sister, she had her own dad, and then the next two, my oldest brother and then my next sister, they had a dad together. So it was, we always grouped up the three and the three, and then sometimes it would be one of the three would go with that person, one of the other three would go with that person, one of the three would go with that person. I would always try to tag along with my older sister. I don't know, I just always looked up to my older sister more than the other two. I don't know why, but I did. And stuff. But now I want to kind of get into the story of why my oldest cousin tried to call child services on my mom because of the youngest three. So going to the story of the youngest three is we had the same dad, and we were kind of like the first three, kind of, because it's like I'm sorry y'all, my daddy was a hoe. He was a hoe. He's like my brother that's 1 year older than me. He's like his first kid, but I'm supposed to be his second kid. I might be his third, and then my brother that's younger than me is supposed to be 1 year younger than me. Is supposed to be his third kid. He might be his fourth. You know, my daddy was a hoe. He got like 13, 15, whatever. Soon to count. But I really loved my dad's side of the family because my dad was incarcerated for a lot of my growing up. So they used to come and get us for holidays, sometimes come to spend time with us in the summertime, summer vacation and things like that. So it was always, sometimes we'll just go down to the country. Like I said, I think I talked about that in my first video about when my cousin tried to give me a BJ. Well, he actually did give me a BJ, but yeah, it was in the country. But they would, sorry, off subject, but they would always take us down and spend time with, this is how like I learned, well, a relationship with my grandma before she passed away on his side, and relationship with my great grandma and things like that. But this was a time when my cousin, that she didn't live in the country. She lived in the city. Like, I'm from a small town in Arkansas, but I remember she lived in one of the cities of Arkansas. So I remember we were going on with her, and then she had one son. So it was like my brother's 1 year older than me. He was the oldest. Then it was me. Then it was my little brother's 1 year younger than me, and then it was her son, my cousin, that was the youngest, but he was like all like stacked up, like in age and stuff. And I just remember like it was fun, like staying with her and stuff. It was fun. I just remember like being in a house and me just thinking, cause when you're going around like new places and stuff, especially as a kid, and all you know is your home and how things are at your home and stuff, you just peep out stuff like, okay, I do this here and stuff like that. I just remember her house was probably a little cleaner. I mean, she only had one kid, so I mean, your house gotta be clean. We got one kid. Yeah, if your house ain't clean and you got one kid compared to 6 kids, then come on now, think about it. Take a second. But yeah, I remember. I think it was time for us to go back or something. It was time for us to go back, but I remember peeping stuff that was happening in my cousin's home while we were there. I think she was having some kind of argument with her. I don't know if they were married at the time. Were they married? They probably wasn't married. With her, I'll say her husband. Maybe they were married at the time. I'm not sure. But her husband at the time, so I don't know, it was like she was gonna change the locks on her door or something or anything, something like that. I was a kid, so I don't know like the full story behind it. But kid you not, it was just funny to me to peep this out as a kid, because it was like we've been in her house probably for a couple days to a week now, so I'm time to go back. But I don't know if it was true or not, but I believe she was supposed to take us back home. Like, she picked us up, she's supposed to take us back, but she wanted my mom to come pick us up from the city. And kids you not, my mom, if you know my mama is not finna drive on the highways. My mama is a country gal. My mama know the country back roads. My mama know just stoplight and stop signs. If you put on anything else, she might freak out. She was like, let me just be a passenger. I'll ride, but I am not finna drive to no city, no city interstate, stuff like that. Mama don't do that. Mama don't do. I wish she would. Probably she'll come and like visit me in Houston and stuff a little bit more. But yeah, she ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna do that, especially back then. She a little bit more now, but back then, hell to the no. So I remember that, and then it went from that conversation or something. I just remember yelling and stuff, but then it was to where she was looking like, kids, you know, we've been to our house for like a week now. So if you're gonna do something like help our hygiene a little bit more while you're there, I would do it like the first day or second day that we were there. But it was like, I guess since my mom had said she couldn't pick us up or she didn't have the money to come get us or something like that, because it wasn't in her calculations at that time. You know, like, I'm sorry, but a lot of black people, we live check to check. Especially back then, it was check to check. I come from like a single parent household. It was check to check. So yeah, my mom couldn't come get us. So I guess my cousin got mad at the time and was like, she was trying to find things about us to tell, I guess, child services. So I remember she was on the phone with somebody and she was just like, all of a sudden she wanted to cut our toenails. Like, oh yeah, toenails look bad. Let me, and just, I don't know if she was gonna take pictures or whatever, but she was just like, oh, using this for leverage and stuff. But I forgot. I think one of her friends, cause mom, like I said, my mom ain't finna come to the city. She ain't finna come to the city. She ain't finna do it. So I mean, it's probably for the kids, but she got to find around. So you bring down there, you bring them back. But I want to say my cousin got one of her friends to like meet our mom halfway or something. It finally worked out in a way, but I was just like, wow, you really going to? I can see if you was like, okay, you're not taking care of my cousin's kids like you should be, so I'm going to keep them or give them to the family or something. But to have you, someone in my family or something bad, say you gonna not give me to other blood relatives that love me, but put me into the system away from my family. I was like, just thinking as a kid, I was like, wow, like y'all really thinking about doing this, or you just talking or really finna do this? Because I'm thinking like, you really finna do this? That's me thinking that, because I would like, if you really believe this, girl, I mean, if you gonna talk the talk, walk the walk. You could have fostered us or something, or you could have gave us to our uncles or told our uncles, okay, hey, they need this, they were off a little bit. But it was just like, oh, I'm going to go under the belt and say, oh, I'm gonna call child services. So me just hearing that as a kid, I was just like, wow. Like when you see, like, I guess, the bad in people, or the bad in people as a kid, it takes away your innocence just little by little. Takes away your innocence. I really didn't want to even talk about this story tonight, but it was like, I remember, cause like I said, my daddy, he had a lot of kids. So it means if my dad had a lot of kids and I was one of his first, then he had a lot of baby mamas. So I just remember this one baby mama he had, and it was one of his first after my mom. My mom was his first baby mama. That when we went over there, I knew, or I knew evil for the first time. I knew evil for the first time because his baby mama, my sister's mom, my half sister's mom, she was something else. Like, she was the reason why I sat down to use the bathroom. To pee, as a kid, I used to sit down. And I will tell you the reason why. I remember going over there, and it was always something. It was just always something, but the way she would just look at us and the way she would talk, it was like, it wasn't sometimes what she said, it was just how she said it, the demeanor and how she said it, and the look in her eyes towards us, especially when he was gone. But I remember this one time, because I'm a kid. I'm a kid. I was a kid. You gotta tell me to use. So I'm using. She said she should get in the tub, girl. Boy, I'm got that water on me. But yeah, so I guess she smelled me and said that I didn't use soap or something. And that was a big ordeal or something. I just go back in there and use soap, or help me out, girl. I'm a kid, probably no more than 5 or 6. Girl, help me out. Like, kid you not. But anyways, So I got in trouble for that. So I had to like go in the room and go to sleep early, be in timeout or something. But I remember when she would say like, "Oh, your boys are peeing on my commode. Your boys are peeing on my commode." I used to always when I remember when I went, and this was like, I kid you not, I was young because I remember this. It was just like I remember, but I don't remember. I don't remember how old I was, so I probably would have to be around like 5 or 6 again, maybe no more than 7, but probably 5 or 6. Your boys are peeing on my commode, peeing on my commode. So I remember like going in there and knowing like, okay, for me to not pee on the commode, or even she say don't pee on the commode, let me just sit down and pee sitting down. So I started doing that, and I was just making sure. I remember that time I was like, okay, let me make sure I'm pee sitting down, and then I'm gonna wipe after flush. When I left out, I think she went straight in there and was saying it's pee on the commode, and I was just like, for the first time when a kid like hears or sees an adult like literally tell a story about them, and you literally can do nothing about it. You're just like, wait, it's just like that little bit of innocence is just pulled away. A little bit of innocence pulled away, pulled away, pulled away. But yeah, I would always remember that. And I don't even think that was a reason why I was like shy. It might have been a reason, a little bit to a reason why I was shy going into bathrooms, like public restrooms, especially with different other guys. Or I just knew that I was gay, so I didn't like going to urinals. Like as a kid, growing up, I really still really don't go to urinals. Like I really don't. I got better at it, but growing up as a kid, if it was like the school bathroom or something like that, I wasn't going to the urinal. If I did, everybody was in the stall and I would try to, so I would sit there and try to go, but I could never go. If it was other dudes in the bathroom, it wasn't happening, Captain. What happened? But yeah, but even to this day about like my what my dad's baby mama, like one of his baby mamas, like cause you need to forgive and stuff, but it was just like, wow, like to belittle a kid in such a young state, it was just mind blowing to me. And I feel like that story, or that's already always back in my head sometimes, because I was just remembering like seeing evil for the first time. It was like one of my times where it was like, okay, I see evil for the first time and stuff. But okay, so going to this next story is, yeah, this next story, I was a kid still, but I was like 5 or 6. This next story was when I had to be maybe 7, 8-ish. I don't know about 9, but it was older. I was older. So it was just had to be in the summertime, because he was like a friend, but he was more of a friend of my neighborhood. Like my neighborhood was kind of like the black suburban neighborhood in my hometown. It was right across from the hospital and things like that. But it was this kid, he used to always come in the summertime. And we all thought he was cool. I thought he was cool. I really was a little jealous of him, because the boy had a moped. He was coming around. You know, he was in town. He had his moped zooming around our neighborhood. It was like, dang, it was like three guys in our neighborhood. They had no mopeds. We just thought they was a stuff. It's like, oh, they got mopeds. But okay, I was at my right around the block. I have a cousin that stays right around the block from me. I was like on the first, and she stayed over here. But I don't know why, but we was always like, I don't know if we would just peck at our uncle, like his like her dad, because her dad was married into the family. And so she wasn't like technically our cousin, because she was married into the family too, but I mean she was a cousin. She's my cousin. But yeah, so we would always go over there, but I think she was kind of like a little fast as a kid. I mean, she was. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, yeah, she was a little fast. She wasn't that fast. She was fast. She was a little fast. But I remember being over there one day. It was always a thing where we was like, oh, don't be over there. Oh, don't be over there when her daddy over there. Don't be over there, because it was just like he was our uncle and stuff. But it was just like, it was just a thing as a kid that we didn't like my family, like my brothers and sisters didn't really fuck with them. I don't know why. I don't know what was the cause instructor, but we just didn't fuck with them as kids. Like I don't know fucked with them. My mom wouldn't have no problem with them, but as kids we just didn't fuck with them. I don't know why. But I remember I was over there and stuff. I was over there, and I don't know why it was just me and the guy this comes into our neighborhood just in the summertime. Because I think because he has family on my block. He has his grandma and his grandpa lived on my block. So he would stay with his grandpa and his grandma in the summertime. But we were only ones over there at the time. But I remember all of a sudden I think I don't know if they was finna kiss or something. I don't know what they was finna do. But I was over there, like it was my cousin, so I wasn't finna do nothing with them. And they was older than me, so I mean I wasn't. But I was over there. I think I always hung out with older kids too, in a sense. But I don't know, we heard, or some of the kids ran out real quick, but we heard like somebody trying to come in, and it was her dad, it was my uncle. So we like, oh hell, he ain't, because she ain't supposed to have no company and stuff, and he already knows she fast, so I was like, So I remember trying to go in her room and hide. I don't know if you heard me when I was on the hide, but I could hear that he got caught soon because they would think they was like in the living room. The door to outside goes right to the living room. So he got caught. But I remember like her dad yelling at him, and he may have hit him or something. I know he like pulled him up a little bit, something like that. So I'm just like, dang. So I'm thinking, dang, I went to her closet in her room trying to hide. I'm like, okay, how am I finna get out of here? How am I finna get out of here? And he finally come in the room. I don't know if he see me at first. Then he finally look at me. Then he's like, get out. He's like, get out. I'm trying to like, let me just go and get out. And then he just, as I'm trying to get out, he just talking because he mad because we in his house. I mean, I be mad too if some kids in my house. I just come out work. My daughter ain't supposed to have no company. I don't know what they doing in my house. But so he kicked me, and he said, I'm just like, But he kicked me, so I'm trying to get out. But I'm not really mad about the kick. I mean, it was just a kick. I was like, whatever. But I think I tell, like, my people back home, but it wasn't really just me, in a sense. It was the other boy. It was really in the sense of they were really mad at his situation just because at the time, I didn't know that the boy that always comes in the summertime to spend time with his grandma and grandpa to ride some moped that I'm jealous of. I didn't know, or envy, jealous, I mean, I want either one. I didn't know that he had cancer. I think he had leukemia or some kind of thing. So for him, to my uncle to put his hands on him, it was just this big ordeal, like, at least in my neighborhood. I'm a kid, so I don't even know how big the ordeal was. But then I just remember they was like, I think police came, they had to get like statements and stuff, but then I had to go to court for this stuff. So me thinking, because I'm like, I feel like I seen a little bit of it again. I was in the next room over and stuff. But I just remember going to court for this stuff, and I'm just like, y'all really doing too much for it. But the kid did have leukemia, like he had some type of cancer. I want to say it was leukemia, but I'm not really sure. He had some type of cancer. So I feel like it was just that in the sense of his, how he like roughed up him to his people. That was not a thing. I'm not really sure. But bring on to that, I think it was like either the next summer or the summer after that. I just remember it was just one summer that it was like we all knew, or it was this guy around in our neighborhood that my friend or the friend of the neighborhood, because like I said, he was a couple years older than me. So, and again, it was kind of like a there's stuff called racism in the world, but then there's also things called classism. Classism is like here's racism. So it was kind of the thing that his hierarchy in the neighborhood was higher than me because his family had more money than mine. He had a moped and things like that. So he was kind of in a different standpoint. Like we would still like hang out with him, but it was like I was hanging out with my older cousins that hung out with him. But I remember one summer that he came and it was got around that that he passed away. And For me, like I was sad about it, but again, I knew him, but I didn't really know. I didn't know. I didn't. I don't think I knew exactly. I think someone told me that he had cancer, but I really didn't know as a kid, like what's all the mint and stuff like that. But when he passed, it was like hit me, and I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be that person that does something for someone. So I just remember when I got the news. I don't think I went to his funeral, but I made sure because I used to draw. I think my first talent that I tapped into was drawing portraits and drawing things. So I remember like sitting down his day of his funeral and just drawing a picture of him for his mom, because it was my first time meeting his mom too. Was on his day of his funeral, because every time he would come down, I would never see his mom. I don't know if his mom would come or they would just ship him down here, but I just knew his grandparents. So seeing her and just to see like a mom just like know that she's been crying all day long, and but I feel like she really loved the picture and stuff like that. I feel like, yeah, I remember she gave me a hug and things like that, and actually I want a plate for food. No, if I say no to no food. But yeah, it was, so I guess in a sense why it was so mean and about like the roughing up of him, because they knew that he had cancer. So me as a kid, I'm just thinking, okay, we should never been in my uncle's house why he went there. But it was like this a bigger scheme of the things. But so that's just going to, I guess, tie up for today, and just in a sense of, again, you never know what you could say around a kid that could take their innocence away, that could take their livelihood or their living away. It's like I said, when you're a kid, that's the time when you actually live. You literally have no care in the world. You have like, well, I can jump off the moon and I'm gonna be okay. That's how you feel. So it's like you never know what can happen with that person, or what you could say that could affect that kid in a way, and in a negative way. It could be a positive way as well, but in a negative way, I'm talking about the negativities. And to know who was around your kid, because I mean, like, I know that sometimes it's hard. So when you're bringing in a new person into a kid's life, but it's like sometimes like behind closed doors, those people can be totally different. Like they can have one face in public, and then when you're alone with them, it could be a different. And it was just as a kid seeing how a person can flip flop like that, like go from a person you could be around with other people, but then behind closed doors you didn't want to be around them. You didn't want to know what was going to happen next. So in a sense of that I'm trying to, I guess, tell my story so I can more cope with it, and also tell the story to help someone else. That's why I tell my story. Like, you can't stop the cycle unless like you let the cycle be known, unless you know what's going on to break that cycle. So that's what Just Stories with Jay Hudson is all about. Telling my story, getting the sense out that you have to move forward to the future, but remember, like, your past is something that could come back. So you tackling your past, you're tackling the things that are inside of you that's making you, tackling the roots. If the roots are bad, then it's gonna be hard to get to the flowers at the end. It's gonna be hard to get to that fruit, and I want to get to my fruit because I have a life of abundance over me, and y'all know y'all have a life of abundance over y'all. So let's get to that fruit. Let's nourish these roots. And yeah, that was Just Stories with Jay Hudson. I hope y'all liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. If not, just watch me until you want to tap that button. I'ma be here. Alright, deuces.